Today we're going to talk about creating a payment button or payment link in Converge. So once you've set into Converge, the first thing that you're going to want to do is go into the settings, and we want to set up some security options. So we're going to go to the bottom, transaction security, fraud prevention rules. There are 3 that are required to be set up, and those are going to be the daily, hourly, and hourly by IP address velocity filters. What these will do is these will block transactions after a set amount of transactions in that specified time period. So if you are sending out 100 invoices today, you expect them to arrive in a couple of days, and you think, hey, the most that's going to happen is 50 of those might attempt to make a transaction in a day, we can set the daily velocity filter to 50. If you have 1,000 that are going to come through, or 5, set that as an appropriate number for your settings. Once we've set the number, we want to make sure it's enabled for the terminal and then save. Hourly should be a smaller number. So again, if you send out 100 invoices, probably they're not going to all get them and at the same time try to make a payment. So just make a judgment on how many transactions you think you would get in an hour. Also take into account somebody that maybe enters their card number wrong or their card number declines. That's going to count as an attempt. And so you want a little bit of leeway there, but you don't want somebody to get in and just submit a ton of fraudulent transactions. That's what this is attempting to block. Hourly by IP address is specifically targeted to one user. So if I'm on my computer, it has a specific IP address, and you could let me make 3 attempts or 5 attempts and then cut me off and not allow me to make any more attempts. Again, we're not trying to block the real users, but we're trying to block the fraudsters that are just trying to hack in and get a portal that they can submit stolen credit card numbers and see if they're good. So once these are completed, we can go back into the settings, and then we want to set up some of the options for the buy button. So we'd go to the payment page, click here. Now this is what the page is going to look like once the customer clicks on the link and goes to it. So this is set up, we can put a logo. So for example, we put our logo on here. This was for a donation, a fundraiser we were running for a charity. You can change the colors, the font, whatever you want so that it matches your colors, your website. Once that's set up, we added our website, so if somebody goes to the payment page, wants to cancel it, it's going to kick back to your website. You're going to want to also set up these response codes. So there's 3 that we need to set up: approval, decline, redirect. Again, same thing. Once the transaction's approved, they can click complete, and if you don't put anything here, it's going to go to the Converge login page, which is not good to send customers there. So you'd want to put your website. So this is for once it's completed. If the transaction declines, it has an option to return to merchant. Again, you'd want to put your website in that section, and then also just put it into the redirect. Once that's done, make sure you save all of your responses, and once completed, we can go back to settings and we can create the buy button. So once you've created a buy button, they're actually saved here, so you can see that we've set up a few, and you could view the details of them and create the code or pull the code. But in this case, we're going to create a new one. The options here are set a fixed price or allow the buyer to input price. So a fixed price is going to be if you're sending it to a specific person for a specific amount, just kind of a one-time use button. Or if you have packages, maybe on your website, right? Package 1's $100, package 2's $500, whatever they are, you can create individual buttons for those set prices. Otherwise, if you're creating a button to send out with an invoice, or you're emailing out an invoice with a hyperlink to the payment page, or you're putting a button on your website so the customers can go to your website, make a payment for the invoice, then you just want to allow the buyer to input price, and then they would just input the amount that they owe off of your invoice. So in this case, we'll just select email. Recurring would allow the data to be saved, and then you can set up recurring payments. So for example, if it's a gym membership or whatever, where they're paying a set amount every month. for a set amount of time. You can add that recurring. And then expiration. So in most cases, we're using a link that we're just going to keep using indefinitely until we want to change it. But again, if you're sending a one-time payment to somebody for a specific amount, you might want to do that. Or if you're doing a promotion, you could have the link only work for a set amount of time. And then the link's going to go to our hosted payments page. So we're going to create a hyperlink, and once we're done with that, we're going to click generate button. So that created this code right here, and web people probably know what this all means, but in most cases we're just taking this part that begins with HTTPS and all the way to the end of this apostrophe, and that is going to be the website that we want to redirect to. So we're just going to copy it, go to a new web page here, and we're going to paste it. So this is the hyperlink that you're going to want to use, and when we click on that, it's going to send them to the payment link, and then they can make their payment. That's a very generous donation, but they could check out, enter all of their information into the system, and then submit the payment. So that's how you create a payment button. Once it's done, you can copy it, but again, you just need this section. If you have created one previously and then want to go back and access it, again, you just go back to the buy buttons. You can see it. We can view the details. There's the code. And again, this is the only section that I really need to create that payment link. I'd copy it. Again, go to a web page, paste it. It's just going to redirect to where we were before because it's the same code. Once you're done with a button, you can click on it and then delete it, and then that way it would not be usable anymore. It's not a bad idea to change that code every once in a while. Hackers are getting smarter, and so we want to do everything we can to keep them at bay. So that's how you create a button. Thank you.